Hello friends, Pat here, and today we are looking at something that has me super excited to use it every morning when I do my 20k ride to work on my bike. These are the Jaybird Runs. They are, well, for runners, and I'm a cyclist, so kinda, but it works really well. So guys, let's get into it. Let's find out why these are pretty much better and, well, same price as AirPods. The Jaybird Runs have, like they say on the box, been designed by runners for runners. To me, that's a bit of marketing hullabaloo, but they are very well designed in the sense that they fit in your ears and they stay in your ears, which is what you want for wireless earbuds, because there's two of them, they're small, and if you're moving fast, you might lose them in a bush, on a road, into the water, and that is exactly what you don't want to happen, because they are not cheap. $249 at JB Hi-Fi gets you this little pod with two headphones, heaps and heaps of interchangeable little bits for your ear, so they have you covered. You can fit it in all sorts of ears, all sorts of tip sizes, and actually by default, the ones I got out of here fit absolutely well into my ear. As you can see, they don't stick out too much and they fit in very well. And like I said before, there's all sorts of tips and sizes for all your ears and all the curves you have in your ear. You can find that fits you basically. And look, that's very necessary to say that these have one of the best fits in the business. And I have to admit, after trying some at the shops, after obviously using the AirPods for the past 3 months, I have to say these fit in a lot better. And after, half an hour on a bike, things are bumping around, you're sweating, things are happening. With the AirPods, I've always had to take my hand off the handlebars and adjust my ears, maybe push it in a little bit, move it around. And because they do stick out, the movement of maybe even your hair or your helmet, or even if you're running and you've got the little string that hooks up your, basically your AirPods, movement kind of gets it out of your ear. But with these, you are truly wireless. There's no little wire connecting the two. There's no little string holding them so you don't lose them. They fit in your ear and they stay in your ear. So the first thing I noticed about it is that I was so impressed, because at first when I put them in, I got on my bike, I was very concerned. But I was like, well, hang on, it says on the box it fits, it says on the box it'll stay. So let's give it a go. Let's trust the box for once. And they did. So I was very impressed the whole way through, the whole way back home, and for the past 2 weeks, these have stayed in my ears. The charging box is a pod. It is much bigger than the AirPods, and it also feels a little bit more finicky. It doesn't feel as solid, and closing the lid is not as satisfying as the AirPods. The other side of it is that fitting these in is a little bit more difficult. When you're trying to put them back in the case, they have 4 little pins on the bottom that you need to kind of align. Like, it kind of fits, but it kind of doesn't. But there is a notification at the front of the box that tells you if they have been synced. The little green lights light up, and some of them don't light up or are a little bit missing. That means you need to adjust it and basically move it around or wiggle it around, or potentially clean the little tips. Now, I would expect this to happen, but the AirPods somehow managed to be designed without those, so I don't see why you can't have the same or the similar touch phase, little pins coming out on a flat surface rather than pins that are ingrained, that are in here. They've got little holes where they kind of go into, that dirt might get into, I think number 2 design would be, something a little bit tighter fitting when you put them back in. Also, if you drop the case, all the stuff will fall out everywhere, so you won't break, but just know that if you drop it, things will fall out. It's not as solid as this in the sense that the clickiness isn't, satisfying and doesn't hold very well. So what other features do these have? Well, they're water resistant, sweat resistant, which I don't know why they needed to include both, but I suppose sweat might be a bit more salty or maybe a bit more destructive. You never know. So technically speaking, it's sweat and water resistant, which is absolutely fantastic, because, when you're riding in the rain or running in the rain, these guys will be absolutely fine. Obviously, submersion is a little bit more troublesome, but expect them to survive a small fall into the water as soon as you get them out again. Unfortunately, these guys aren't rated as water resistant, but apparently they kind of are. So, you know, these guys are, and I would trust them a little bit more, especially when they say it on the box. The next thing is that it has a 4-hour battery life per charge. Now that box in there, the actual pill box, has a charge of 12 hours, so you can have about 3 to 4 charges if you use it. So you might use it for an hour, you might put it back in the box, charge it, and apparently 5 minutes charges it from 0 to an hour's use, which I haven't personally tested because I haven't really done a 4-hour session of bike riding or any type of exercise where I use them to really say, oh well, they're empty now. Most of the time it was an hour to 2 hours, and I was able to put them back in the box, and I've only charged them once in 3 days, which was really impressive. So guys, I wouldn't really worry about the battery life because I don't think you're going to be going 4 hours non-stop, and if you are, I'm very impressed. So let me know if you're going to be doing that. Next thing is the sound quality. And well, look, what can you expect? They are small earbuds. They are not Sennheiser earbuds that are, you know, $500, $600. So, you know, there's a bit of more technology that goes into those, but they are very good for the size that they are, and obviously the price. These guys sound really well for the lows, the mids, and the highs. You're not an audiophile if you're buying this. This is for exercise, and they're just to have to sound good enough for you to hear a bit of music when you're exercising. And there is one downfall, and this could be changed with a bit of change of the tips, but the tips that you have in your ears, they are rubber, or potentially if you get some plastic ones, and they do rub in your ear. So when you are exercising, if you don't have your sound very loud, you're going to hear a lot of rubbing, and it's going to be very annoying, and it's going to sound horrendous. So when you first put them in, you're going to hear this weird moving noises. It's like somebody puts your finger in and is rubbing around in your ears, and it's kind of annoying, but you can drone it out with your music. And there's another thing I have noticed. There is a very substantial hiss when these are on. In saying that, it's probably not a problem because, again, once you play music, you can't really hear it. Comparably, on the AirPods, there is no hiss. I really can't hear it. So that's something to consider if that really annoys you. But in saying that, if you're buying these, you probably don't have an iPhone, and if you do, either way, there's an app for it, which means you can get what I guess Apple users get on their phone, where it tells you the battery percentage, where you can change the EQ of the headphones. It's a really good app that you get with these Jaybirds. So I really do praise these guys. They've not just created a very good product that sits well in your ears, which is, I think, a lot more important than how well it sits in the case, and they've given you a companion app that is actually useful. Like, honestly, there's a lot of companion apps for a lot of products that are absolutely useless. They're just there to fill in a marketing hole, but these ones are actually particularly useful, especially when they tell you the battery range of your two earphones. Now, they never match. That's the thing I found after 1 hour of riding and listening to music, not even using the microphone or the buttons. One was at 78, the other one was at 75. One of them obviously is the connector, the other one is just syncing with the two ones. Now there's a few weird things when you actually put them back in a case. You gotta shut it, then they turn off. When you open it up, it actually starts speaking in the headphones. So it's a little bit annoying if you flick it open and off again. But also sometimes the left one doesn't quite connect instantly, so you gotta wait a little bit before it all connects each other, but you can actually in fact turn both of them off. They each have a button, and obviously you can then set those buttons to do play, stop, answer phone call, skip, and then there's also sound up and down, but you can only choose 2 mixes of that. So day-to-day use, I absolutely love it, and I've put my Apple AirPods away. These guys have become my main use because I don't have to have a little ribbon holding the two, so just in case they fall out, because I know they won't fall out. They are much lighter, the sound is on par with the AirPods, and in fact, I would say that the sound at the louder end is actually a lot nicer. It's much cleaner, but at the lower end, that rubbing noise can be a little bit annoying, so you just take that into account when you're looking at these. Price-wise, they're very similar, around $220, $250. These guys are $250 at JB, so when you're considering something like this, I think that's really the highest end you can pay, $250, $300, because, you know, they're just something you're going to use potentially maybe an hour a day or maybe half an hour. So there is a price to use you got to consider. There's obviously cheaper alternatives where you can just get headphones that just sit in your ear and go around it and lock in very well. But if you want true wireless, water resistant, very well sounding earbuds, the Jaybird Runs are an absolute great choice, and I was very, very impressed. I used to think the AirPods were the best Android earbuds, but now that's really changed very quickly because these guys are the best for your Android, and even if you have Apple, you'll make great use of these. Obviously, there's a bit of thing with staying in the ecosystem of Apple, but I think the performance is gonna outweigh how much staying in these are. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you check out some other ones before you buy anything because it is your personal preference, especially in the earphones when they fit. But remember, these guys give you a whole heap of options to make sure that you'll get the best fit. Thanks, and I'll catch you in another video. Like, subscribe, dislike, let me know why, and let me know what you guys think about the wireless earbud market.